Welcome to Quantum Sirens, where the mystical wisdom of tarot meets the soothing embrace of calming sleep stories. You're invited to embark on ethereal journeys through the world of tarot, each story designed to relax your mind, guide your spirit, and gently lull you into a peaceful slumber. In each video, explore a different tarot card through enchanting, dreamlike childhood tales that help you connect with numerology and tarot deeper meanings. As you drift off to sleep, let these stories unfold in your mind, allowing the wisdom of the cards to accompany you through your dreams. If you feel drawn to the energy of the card, or if the story resonates with you, please feel free to interact with the video, like, comment, or share your thoughts about how the story speaks to you. By engaging with the video, you can join in the unfolding journey of each tarot card and become part of our growing, peaceful community. Relax, close your eyes, and allow yourself to flow into the quiet magic of the night. Your journey with tarot has just begun. The beginning of the journey. In the heart of the ever-whispering forest, there lived a small creature named Willow. A curious, bright-eyed hare with fur as soft as the morning fog. Willow was known throughout the forest for one thing: they had never been afraid to take a leap into the unknown. While most animals in the forest were careful, planning every move with cautious precision, Willow was different. They felt the tug of excitement in the air, a sense that there was something more beyond the familiar paths of their home. One crisp morning, as the sun painted the sky in soft shades of pink and lavender, Willow stood at the edge of the forest, gazing into the vast, mysterious lands beyond. The wind whispered secrets of untold adventures, and something inside Willow stirred. Today is the day, they thought. Today, I will take a step into the unknown. As they hopped forward, their paws light and swift, a strange feeling filled their chest, a mixture of excitement and nervousness, like the flutter of 1,000 tiny wings. The world beyond the forest was vast and unfamiliar, but Willow had heard stories of what lay beyond: meadows filled with wildflowers that sparkled in the moonlight, rivers that sang songs of old, and mountains where the clouds touched the earth. But none of that had been seen with their own eyes, and that was precisely what made the adventure so irresistible. As they ventured deeper into the unknown, Willow stumbled upon a peculiar sight. Before them, on a small hill, stood a wise old owl named Orion. Orion had feathers of silver and eyes that gleamed like twin stars. He looked down at Willow with a smile that reached the very corners of his beak. "Ah, young Willow," Orion hooted softly, "I see you have come to embark on a journey, full of potential and new beginnings. But remember, the road ahead is as uncertain as the wind itself, and you must trust it, even when you cannot see where it leads." Willow tilted their head, puzzled. "But what if I get lost?" they asked. Orion's smile deepened, and he nodded sagely. "Ah, that is the very essence of the journey, dear one. To take the first step without knowing the path. To trust that each new turn holds a lesson, and that the journey itself is more important than the destination. You have within you the courage to leap. But remember, sometimes the most beautiful discoveries happen when we embrace the unexpected." Willow felt their heart race with excitement. "I'm ready," they said, hopping forward with renewed determination. The path ahead seemed wide open, full of infinite possibilities, and they were filled with the warmth of something new and unknown. But just as Willow was about to hop away, Orion's voice stopped them. "One last thing, young one," he said. "Remember, the fool's journey is not without its challenges. The world may surprise you, and not every step will be easy. But you must trust the journey, and most importantly, trust yourself. For the adventure is about discovering who you are, not just where you are going." With those words echoing in their ears, Willow began to bound forward once more, leaving the familiar world behind. As they hopped away, the wind seemed to laugh with joy, as though it, too, was eager to see what Willow would discover next. And so, Willow's adventure began, a journey of trust, spontaneity, and boundless potential. But they didn't know yet just how far the road would take them. Nor did they need to. For sometimes, the most exciting adventures come from taking that first leap into the unknown. The Meadow of Mirrors. As Willow hopped along, the landscape began to change. The dense trees of the ever-whispering forest slowly gave way to wide, open fields. Tall grass swayed gently in the breeze, its green blades shimmering like emeralds under the sun. But something was different here, a feeling, almost like a quiet hum in the air. It was as if the world around them was watching, waiting. After a short while, Willow came upon a strange sight, a meadow filled with flowers, each one reflecting the sunlight in a dazzling array of colors. It was a beautiful, almost magical place. But Willow noticed that the flowers weren't the only things shining. All around them, the air seemed to ripple as if the very atmosphere was alive with possibility. Curious, Willow ventured deeper into the meadow, their paws light on the soft earth. They marveled at the flowers that shimmered in a way that made them look like tiny mirrors, reflecting different images of the world around them. Some reflected Willow's own bright eyes. Others reflected birds flying overhead. And still others showed glimpses of distant places Willow had never seen before. It was as though the meadow was a portal into infinite versions of reality, each one offering something new, something unknown. Willow stopped at the center of the meadow, surrounded by these reflective flowers. A strange, delightful feeling filled their chest. What if I could see all the possibilities ahead of me? They thought. What if I could see all the different paths I could take? A voice broke through their thoughts, soft but clear. You've arrived at the Meadow of Mirrors, it said. Willow looked around and saw no one, but they felt the presence of someone wise. Each flower here shows you a different version of your journey. Different choices, different possibilities. But you cannot stay here forever, dear one. For to wander too long in this place is to lose sight of the journey ahead. From behind one of the shimmering flowers, a small, brightly colored fox emerged. Her fur was a blend of gold and silver, and her eyes sparkled like the stars in Orion's sky. I am Solara, she said, her voice light and musical. I guard this meadow, where possibilities are endless and the future unfolds in every direction. Willow, still mesmerized by the mirrored flowers, asked, how do I choose the right path? What if I pick the wrong one? Solara gave a gentle laugh, her tail flicking playfully. Ah, Willow, that is the very heart of your journey. The fool's path is not about picking the perfect path, no. It's about trusting that the path you choose will lead to where you need to go. Every step, every decision, will reveal something new about you, and you must be open to it. There is no right or wrong path, only the one you take. But how can I know what to do? Willow asked, feeling a twinge of uncertainty. Solara walked around Willow, her golden fur glinting in the sunlight. The answer, dear one, is faith. Faith that even when the path is unclear, you are always exactly where you need to be, just like the wind that carries you forward. Sometimes you cannot see the full direction, but you can trust it to guide you where you are meant to go. Each step, each choice, is a part of your adventure. The key is to take the leap with an open heart. Willow looked around at the many flowers, each offering a different glimpse into the future. They felt overwhelmed by the endless possibilities. How can I know which one is right? But Solara's words echoed in their mind, there is no right or wrong path, only the one you take. With a deep breath, Willow took a tentative step forward, feeling the weight of the unknown but also the excitement of what lay ahead. As they walked through the meadow, the mirrored flowers continued to reflect not just Willow, but their dreams, their hopes, and even their fears. Each reflection was a part of them, showing them how much potential they had, how much more there was to discover. Solara watched Willow with a knowing smile. The fool does not need to see the whole journey. They only need to take the first step. And with each step, they will learn more about the world and about themselves. Just then, the wind shifted, and a soft golden light filled the meadow. The flowers began to shimmer even more brightly, as though urging Willow to move forward. It's time to go, Solara said gently. Remember, your journey has only just begun. Trust in the unknown, for it is in the unknown that true magic lies. With a final look at the Meadow of Mirrors, Willow turned and continued on their way, feeling lighter than before. The meadow, with all its possibilities, would always be a part of their adventure. But now Willow knew that the most important thing was not to dwell in the reflections, but to move forward into the unknown with courage and trust. And so, they bounded onward, ready for whatever came next, knowing that the path ahead was full of infinite possibilities, each one unfolding with every leap they took. The river of reflection. Willow continued on their journey, leaving the meadow of mirrors behind. The path ahead seemed to twist and turn, and the air had a new, cool freshness to it. Soon, Willow found themselves approaching a wide, sparkling river. The water flowed gently, but its current was steady, its surface shimmering with the reflection of the sky above. The river seemed alive, rippling with a secret energy, as though it held the answers to all of Willow's questions. As Willow approached the riverbank, they noticed a small boat tied to a nearby tree. The boat was simple but sturdy, with wooden oars resting inside. It looked inviting, and Willow felt an odd sense of calm wash over them as they stood beside it. But before they could step into the boat, a voice rang out from behind. "Ah, I see you've found the river of reflection," said a wise tortoise named Tiberius. His shell was adorned with intricate patterns that seemed to change with the light, shifting from deep greens and blues to warm oranges and golds. His eyes were kind but knowing, and his slow, steady movements gave him an air of quiet wisdom. Willow looked at Tiberius curiously. "The river of reflection?" they asked. "What is that?" Tiberius chuckled softly, his ancient voice carrying a weight of years. "This river doesn't just reflect the world around you. It reflects the journey inside. It shows you the depths of your heart, the hidden places where your dreams and fears are held. It is a place where you may see what you've been running from or what you're longing for. But it's also a place where you can find clarity if you are brave enough to face it." Willow hesitated. "But what if the reflection shows something scary? Something I'm not ready to see?" Tiberius gave a slow, thoughtful nod. "That is the challenge of the fool's path, dear one. To take the leap into the unknown is not always easy. But remember, Willow, the fool does not need to have everything figured out. The journey is about growth. And sometimes, growth requires confronting the things we fear or the things we don't fully understand." Willow glanced at the boat again. The idea of facing their reflection in the water both intrigued and unsettled them. What might they see? Would the river show them something they weren't prepared for? Tiberius's voice broke through their thoughts. "The boat is ready, but it's your choice whether you get in. The river can only reflect what you are willing to face, and you can leave any time you choose. But sometimes, the journey forward requires a little courage to look within." With a deep breath, Willow stepped into the boat. The wood creaked slightly beneath their paws, but it felt sturdy and secure. Tiberius untied the rope and gently pushed the boat into the water. As they floated away from the shore, the sound of the flowing river was soothing, and the world around them seemed to slow down. As the boat drifted farther into the river, Willow's eyes fixed on the water's surface. At first, all they saw was the reflection of the sky, a soft blue, dotted with wisps of white clouds. But as they continued, the water began to shimmer and shift, revealing images of Willow's own face, distorted and swirling. Suddenly, the reflection began to change. It wasn't just Willow's face anymore, it was their fears, their hopes, and their dreams. There, in the water, Willow saw themselves standing in a great hall, surrounded by endless doors. Each door represented a choice, a path, but all of them seemed daunting. Some doors were bright and inviting, but others were dark and foreboding, each one tied to a fear they hadn't yet confronted. The water rippled again, and Willow saw another reflection, themselves standing at the edge of a cliff, looking out over a vast, empty ocean. The sky was dark and stormy, and the waves crashed against the rocks far below. In this reflection, Willow was afraid to jump. The fear of the unknown weighed heavily, and they felt stuck, unable to move forward. Willow stared at the reflection of the cliff, their heart pounding. "Is that me?" they wondered. "Am I really afraid to take that leap?" As the boat continued to drift down the river, the images in the water began to shift again. This time, Willow saw themselves standing tall, the stormy ocean far behind them. They were no longer afraid of the cliff, instead, They were leaping into the unknown with their arms outstretched, filled with the kind of courage they hadn't known they had. Tiberius's voice broke through their thoughts. What do you see, Willow? What does the river show you? Willow looked at the shifting reflection, a strange calm settling over them. I see that I'm afraid to take the leap, they admitted softly. But I also see that, if I trust myself, I can take it. The fear doesn't have to hold me back. Tiberius nodded slowly. The fool's journey is about trusting yourself even when the path is unclear. It's about embracing the unknown, even when you don't know exactly where it will take you. The reflection shows you what you need to face, but it also shows you the strength you already have within you to move forward. The boat continued to drift, and Willow felt the weight of their fear begin to lift. They had seen the reflection of their own courage, the part of them that was ready to take that first leap into the unknown. And though the river had shown them both the dark and the light, Willow now understood that it wasn't about avoiding fear, it was about embracing it as part of the journey. As they floated toward the end of the river of reflection, Tiberius spoke one final time. You've seen what you needed to see, Willow. Now, trust yourself to continue forward. The river will always be here, reflecting what you need to see. But your path lies ahead, beyond the water's edge. Willow looked up at the horizon, feeling a new sense of resolve. They didn't know exactly where their journey would lead, but they were ready to step forward, knowing that the adventure was about trusting the unknown and trusting themselves. And so, they continued on, the river fading behind them, but the lessons of the reflection still fresh in their heart. The mountain of choices. As Willow left the river of reflection behind, the landscape shifted once more. The air grew crisp and cool, and the ground beneath their paws became rocky and uneven. In the distance, Willow could see towering mountains, their peaks dusted with snow, stretching into the sky. A great silence hung in the air, the kind of quiet that made every breath feel significant. It was as though the entire world was holding its breath. Willow approached the foot of the mountains, their heart pounding with both excitement and a trace of fear. I'm so close to something big, they thought. I can feel it. At the base of the mountain, there was a path that wound its way upward, steep and narrow. The path was lined with rocks, and each rock seemed to whisper in a language Willow could almost understand. Some rocks were smooth, while others were jagged, sharp, and rough to the touch. As Willow moved closer, they noticed something strange. Each rock had a symbol carved into it, a symbol that looked familiar, as if it belonged to a story they hadn't yet read. The path seemed daunting, but it called to Willow, urging them to take the next step. Just as they began to climb, a familiar voice rang out from the shadows of the mountain. Willow, you have come to the mountain of choices, said the voice. Out from the rocks stepped a graceful mountain lion named Cadenza. Their coat was a deep shade of bronze, and their eyes sparkled with the wisdom of someone who had seen countless paths unfold before them. Cadenza moved with a calm, measured grace, their presence both soothing and commanding. The mountain of choices, Willow repeated, tilting their head. What does that mean? Cadenza's eyes twinkled with a knowing smile. This mountain is a place where every decision you make leads to another choice. It's where you will face crossroads, and where the direction you choose will shape the journey that follows. But remember, Willow, every choice you make, whether large or small, is part of the grand tapestry of your journey. There is no one right answer. There are only paths that lead you deeper into who you are meant to become. Willow glanced at the mountain path ahead. It seemed endless, winding through jagged cliffs and rocky ledges. Some paths appeared to be easier than others, but they all led in different directions. Willow felt a sudden sense of overwhelm. How can I know which one to take? Cadenza stepped forward, their voice gentle but firm. The fool's journey is about trusting that each choice, each step, is part of your adventure. The fear of making the wrong choice is often what holds us back. But if you keep your heart open and your mind clear, you will find that there is no wrong path. Every decision leads you to new experiences, new growth, and new lessons. Willow took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the mountain pressing against them. But what if I choose the wrong path? What if I regret it? Cadenza chuckled softly. their deep voice echoing in the stillness. Ah, Willow, there is no such thing as a wrong path. Every choice you make is part of the unfolding story. If you step onto a path and it doesn't feel right, you can always step off and find a new way. The important thing is to keep moving, to keep choosing, even when you don't know where it will lead. Willow felt a flicker of hope at Cadenza's words. It was as though a weight had been lifted off their shoulders. They didn't have to have everything figured out, they just had to take the next step. As they began climbing the mountain, they noticed the path growing steeper, the air thinner, but they didn't feel as afraid as before. The mountain seemed less like an obstacle now and more like a challenge to be met with curiosity. Each rock they stepped over felt like a new opportunity, a new choice waiting to be made. Along the way, Willow encountered other creatures. There was a small squirrel named Lyra, who offered them a handful of berries and shared stories of the paths she had taken in her own life. Every path has its twists, Lyra said, her tiny paws holding the berries with care. But I found joy in each twist. Just follow what feels right for you. Then, Willow met a wise old deer named Zephyr, who had a long, flowing white mane and eyes full of quiet understanding. Zephyr nodded at Willow and said, "Do not fear the uncertainty, dear one. For the fool does not need to know the outcome, they only need to walk with faith in the journey ahead." With each encounter, Willow felt their confidence growing. They realized that the mountain was not just about the physical climb, it was about learning to trust themselves in every moment. The mountain didn't require perfect choices, it only required them to keep moving, to keep trusting that the next step would lead them to exactly where they needed to be. The path began to level out, and Willow could see the summit just ahead. There was still some distance to go, but now the mountain didn't seem so daunting. The choices, instead of feeling like burdens, felt like invitations to embrace what came next. Each step felt lighter, as though the weight of uncertainty had melted away. As Willow reached the summit, the world opened up before them. The sky stretched out, vast and endless, and the view was breathtaking. From up here, Willow could see the winding paths they had traversed, the river they had crossed, and the meadow full of shimmering flowers. The entire journey, with all its twists and turns, had led them here, to this moment of clarity and peace. Cadenza appeared beside them on the summit, standing tall and proud. "You have done well, Willow. You've learned that the journey is not about knowing all the answers but about trusting each step, each choice, and most of all, trusting yourself." Willow looked out at the horizon, feeling a deep sense of peace and excitement. The future was still uncertain, but they no longer feared it. The fool's journey wasn't about knowing the outcome, it was about embracing the adventure, one choice at a time. And so, with a heart full of courage and hope, Willow took a deep breath and began to descend the mountain, ready for whatever the next part of their journey would bring. The path ahead was still unknown, but now, Willow knew that no matter where it led, they would walk it with trust, with openness, and with the wisdom of the mountain. The Grove of Wonders. As Willow descended from the mountain of choices, their heart felt light, their spirit uplifted by the lessons learned along the way. The path ahead remained uncertain, but Willow now understood that the uncertainty was not something to fear, but rather something to embrace. The journey itself, each twist, each decision, each challenge was what made it meaningful. With every step, they had learned more about themselves, and each new experience had been a part of their unfolding adventure. The landscape began to change once more, softening into a lush, enchanted grove. The trees here were tall and ancient, their branches twisting high into the sky, forming a canopy of leaves that shimmered in golden hues, as though touched by magic. The air was fragrant with the scent of sweet blossoms, and the ground beneath Willow's paws was soft with moss. The breeze whispered through the leaves, filling the air with a melody that seemed both familiar and new. Willow paused for a moment to take it all in, marveling at the peaceful beauty of the Grove of Wonders. The path through the grove was gentle and winding, leading deeper into the heart of the forest. Here, everything seemed to move at a slower pace, as though time itself had softened in this enchanted place. As Willow ventured further, they encountered more creatures, each one living in harmony with the magical energy that filled the grove. A butterfly with iridescent wings fluttered past them, trailing sparks of stardust. A squirrel with golden fur played in the branches above, laughing as it chased its own tail. Everything in the grove seemed to be in perfect balance, flowing freely from one moment to the next. Suddenly, Willow spotted something peculiar in the distance, a clearing where the trees parted to reveal a sparkling, crystalline pond. The water was so clear that Willow could see the pebbles on the bottom and the reflection of the trees above, perfectly mirrored in its surface. In the center of the pond stood a graceful deer with silver antlers, their fur glowing softly under the light filtering through the leaves. The deer looked up as Willow approached, their eyes warm and knowing. "Welcome to the Grove of Wonders," they said in a voice that sounded like the gentle rustling of leaves. "I am Lumi, the guardian of this place. You have journeyed far, and now you stand at the threshold of something new." Willow approached the pond, feeling a sense of awe and reverence. "What is this place?" they asked. "It feels magical." Lumi nodded. "It is a place of possibility and transformation. The Grove of Wonders is where the journey ends and begins again. It is where you can reflect on all that you have learned, and where you can make a choice about where your path will lead next. But remember, Willow, the fool's journey is never truly over. Each cycle of growth leads to another, and the journey continues to unfold in ways you cannot yet imagine." Willow took a deep breath and gazed into the pond. The water shimmered, and in its depths, they saw countless reflections of themselves, some standing tall, confident and sure, others hesitant, unsure, and uncertain. But what caught their eye most of all was the image of Willow standing in front of the pond, smiling with joy and peace. It was as though the water showed them not just who they were, but who they were becoming. Lumi smiled gently, watching Willow's face as they gazed into the pond. "The fool's journey is one of trust and growth," Lumi said. "You have taken each step with courage, with an open heart, and with the willingness to embrace the unknown. The reflections in the water show you the many aspects of yourself that are always present, the bravery, the fear, the curiosity, and the wisdom you've gained. But what is most important is that you have learned to trust the unfolding path, even when it isn't clear." Willow nodded thoughtfully. "So, it's not about having everything figured out, is it?" Lumi shook their head, their antlers glinting in the light. "No, Willow. The fool does not need to know the entire journey. They only need to step forward, trusting that the path will reveal itself in time. The Grove of Wonders reminds us that the journey is full of infinite possibilities, and it is in embracing those possibilities with open arms that we discover our true strength." Willow gazed down at their own reflection in the pond once more. They saw not just a small hare, but a creature who had faced uncertainty with courage, who had embraced every leap into the unknown, and who had learned that the beauty of the journey was in the unfolding, not in the destination. The journey had transformed them, just as the pond's waters reflected the transformations that had taken place along the way. Feeling a deep sense of gratitude, Willow turned to Lumi. "I think I understand now. The journey is not just about reaching the end, it's about who we become along the way." "Exactly," Lumi said softly. "And remember, Willow, the fool's journey is cyclical. Just as the seasons change and the stars shift in the sky, so too does the journey of growth. Each step forward, each leap into the unknown, leads to another beginning. And that is the magic of life itself." With a final smile, Lumi gestured toward the path that wound through the grove. "Your journey may be far from over, but the next steps are yours to take. The world is full of wonder, and you are ready to explore it with all the courage, curiosity, and trust you have gained." Willow nodded, their heart light and full of excitement. The grove was beautiful, a peaceful resting place. But Willow knew that the adventure would continue. There were more wonders to explore, more paths to choose, and more reflections to discover. And though the journey ahead was still uncertain, Willow knew they were ready to take each step with an open heart and an unwavering trust in the path before them. And so, with the Grove of Wonders behind them and the endless possibilities of the world ahead, Willow hopped forward, knowing that the fool's journey, full of infinite beginnings, wisdom, and growth would continue for as long as they were willing to take the leap into the unknown. And in that moment, Willow knew that the adventure was only just beginning.